First of all, I would like to uh, greet all the students here. This is the first lecture uh, for the electronic learning. This lecture is about linguistics for the first year Bolognian system. It is about animal communication and human communication. First of all, what are the differences between communication and language? Communication is the way that we use to communicate between each others. Why you said that animals communication? Because animals communicate for certain purposes or for certain aims, while we said human language to say that the language that we use, it has symbols, has sounds, it has structures and everything. So now, first of all, the questions that we are going to discuss in this lecture are what are the properties of a human language? What is the difference between communication and language? What is culture and transmission? What is instinct and is it transmitted? Can other species acquire language? Can animals be taught to use a human language, or are they simply mimicking? First of all, communicative versus informative signals. What are communicative? Communicative signals are intentional and carry meaning, while informative signals are not intentional but still carry meaning. Communicative signals, it means that the animals, they use those signals to have a meaning for a certain purpose. For example, to warn the others of a danger, or to warn the others of something that is going to happen. It's something like that. This is why they said communicative signals. Informative signals, they are not intentional. How is that? They're just their nature to make those signals. For example, he has given you here, I am sitting at the desk in the front of the room. This is informative. Why? Because it means that I must be the professor. Where the professor sit at the desk in front of the students, in front of the room. So this is informative. It doesn't have an intention. It is just a general sentence. But if I say to you that I am here to teach the class, here it is intentional. For example, let's say that the situation, someone doesn't know me, or the students, they do not know me. So at the beginning, when I go inside the class, I'm going to tell them that I am here to teach you. This is just like introduction, that I want to tell you that my aim of this visit, or the purpose of this visit, is that I'm going to teach you because I'm professor. So it has intention, it has a meaning, it has a message behind this signal or behind this communication. Communication also, animals can be informative. For example, a bird may suddenly fly away at the approach of the predator. How is that? When you are going to, for example, there's a bird on the surface, when you are going to go close to it, it's going to be directly, it's going to fly away. This is a reaction. Not, it doesn't have it. This is its nature. When seeing someone coming near to him or to it, is going to fly. But also they can be what? Communicative. A bird may make a loud squawk at the sight of predator. In this case, when it just make this specific movement, is trying to saying that look out, something is going to eat us. This is warning the others, warning the other birds that there is a danger. So the first one, informative, it's just like its nature, just a reaction of something. But for the second, no, it is just to carry a message, to deliver a message to the other birds, or to the other mates that they have. Properties of a human language, what are they? Reflexivity, displacement, arbitrariness, projectivity, cultural transmission, and duality. Now we are going to come to discuss each one of them one by one. Reflexivity. Humans are able to reflect. They are able to talk about or reflect on language itself. Without this ability, we couldn't even talk about the other properties of language. How is that? Why we use language? To reflect ourselves, to talk about ourselves, to talk about our nature, our feelings, our ideas. So it's just like a mirror. The language is just like our mirror that we are reflecting ourselves through. Dogs are able to bark at each other, but they are probably not barking about barking itself. This is just to make a difference between humans and dogs. They're just barking at each other's, but they are probably not barking about barking itself. There is barking, that making sounds. So there is a purpose for this language, which is here. It is just for not for communicative. It's just for to be informative. Now we come to displacement. Humans can talk about the past, present, and future. The most important feature is that in language, and to differentiate it from the animals' communication, is that we use language to talk about things that happened before, or is happening now, or are going to happen in the future. For example, yesterday I saw a movie, today I'm staying home, next week I am, and so on. So we are talking about different activities, different things that are happening in different time zones. Human can talk about things that do not exist or we cannot see. For example, yesterday grandpa went to heaven. It means dead. And tomorrow the tooth fairy is coming. This is something imaginary. So we use our language to create imaginary things or imaginary events. But the communication of animals, they do not do such things. Animal communication is about the here and now. The specific thing that about animals is that when they communicate, they talking about things that happening at the present time, not something happened in the past or something is going to happen in the future, just at the present time. You have to know that most of the animals, they have let's say short memory. This is why they talk. For example, a bee. The bees, when trying to make it, is just connected with what is happening now, and just make a movement, making a movement, for example, to say this is the place of the honey. But it is going to make that movement at the specific time, at the time that it found the source of let's say the food that it wants. So at that time it's going to make it specific. After the time it's going to forget what happened before. Here, for example, the sound of meow meow. I'm hungry now. When if the cat or your cat come to you making that sounds, it means that it is hungry. That cat is hungry now. And bark also, intruder is at the door now. Just when the dogs are barking, you say that there is someone, stranger outside the house. This is why it is that animal is making this kind of thing. So at the time of the action, they make the communication, but before it or after it, they do nothing. Animals can't displace in either time or space. Just like we said, not Timmy fell into a well. Here, bark, making that sound, it means that there is a problem now, help. But not Timmy fell into a well over on the old Cotter farm 3 miles away, drive down, cook, and so on. And just like giving details. It's just talking about the time now, but not about the space or about the something else. Properties of a human language. Now we come to another property, which is arbitrariness. There is no natural connection between a word's form and its meaning. For example, let's say book. What is the connection between the shape of the book and the word of the book? There is nothing. Also, for example, star, strela, stella. All of them, do they have a connection with the shape of the star? No. So the relation between the shape and the meaning, it is arbitrary. Even thought you can play games with big, little, soft, and hard. Also, this is there's no connection between the meaning of the words and the form of the word. Animal communicative sounds are closely correlated with their meanings. How is that? Think of a cat. When it's just making those kind of sounds, doesn't use a variety of sounds to express these conditions. These sounds are always mean the one thing they mean. Here it means that we use the word to express more than one meaning. It is used for more than one situation. Okay, but for the animals, they do not do such a things. They use different sounds for certain situations, and this sound is not going to be used with in another one. For example, his, for example, the second word, when they use it, for example, to indicate that I am in attacking mode, so don't attack me. So in this case, this is just that situation in which they are going to use this kind of sounds. But for the human language, no. We use the word book. Book to means as a material book. Book to mean as a verb. Okay? Or I'm going to booking you, or to book you. It means what? To do something, or to let's say to book you. It means that I'm going to keep you for myself. So in each time the first word or the same word is used more than one situation to express different meanings. Vervet monkeys have 36 cries of warning for different predators, but any animal vocabulary is finite and limited. For example, monkeys, you know that the monkeys, they are the most nearest animals to the human beings. So they have 36 cries for warning, for warning. But they are still, even if now if you see that 36 cries, this is definite number. With animals, we have definite number of vocabulary. They are limited. But with the human beings, no. Just like we said, the same word can be used in more than one situation, and each situation is going to mean something different. So the sentences of the human beings are unlimited. Productivity. Human vocabulary and sentences are infinite and open-ended. Productivity. The human language is a productive one. How is that? For example, I can produce, as a speaker of any language, I can produce unlimited number of sentences that even I've never heard before. Each individual, each one of us has his or her own sentences, and creating more and more and more according to what? To the situation, to the need, to the meaning, to the idea that I want to express. It depends. So each one of us has unlimited number of sentences, unlimited number of words, unlimited number of constructions. We can create new words in our lexicon, like texting, googling, new slang, and so on. Examples. So in each need, we are going to use what more and more sentences we create, because we have this ability to join the words to express a meaning that we want to express. In unlimited combinations, coalesce green ideas sleep furiously. This is you see that the sentences that given by Noam Chomsky. We have a morphology and a grammar which allow us to combine new words in new structures. Morphology and grammar. Morphology means that I'm going to form different words according to rules. For example, if I want to make a verb a noun, I'm going to add ing. So I have formed a word, a noun, from a verb. If I want to make the noun to a verb, for example, attention, or let's say, sorry, not attention, let's say, what else? Attention, attentionally, I can make it from a noun to make it an adverb. Announce, a verb. Announcement, it is a noun. So in each time I'm making or I'm forming a new word by using limited number of rules, of morphological rules. Now we have a grammar. When you are going to combine the words to each other, we are going to form a new sentences and new structures. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. This is what we have talked about. Cultural transmission. Why we use language? How did we use language to express our ideas. Also, we use language to cultural transmission. For example, you know that in the old times were not able to write. To write their history, so they used to inherit the history through stories, and stories they are the language. How you are going to inherit if you are not able to write? You are going to use your speech to transmit the stories and the let's say the legends of your ancestors to the grandsons. We acquire our speech from the environment we are raised in, our culture, which includes our language, our accent, and our expressions. For example, this is what we do in human language. This is for animal, no. This is meow, is a meow, and now and after. The same sound is used in every time. It is instinctual and inborn. It's something in their nature. In their nature, when they live, they are using these certain sounds to express a limited meaning, just like you have said. Some birds both are born with some calls and songs instinctively, and some are learned. For example, we have canary. Some of them they know about 12 songs. 12 songs they are not learned. They are inherited, or they are instinct. And their nature, when they just come to life, they have 12 songs, or let's say 11 songs. Sometimes we are able to teach them for songs or for words. It depends. Just like we have monkeys, just like we have some kinds of verbs that we use, or that we teach them how to speak and how to imitate as our speech. 7-week window for birds. If birds are not exposed to bird song in the first 7 weeks, they will still produce songs, but abnormal ones. Song singing is instinctual. This is what we talked about. 7-week windows. Sometimes if you have a bird, it is not going to be introduced to another bird, it's going to sing, but not like the professional if it's going to listen to another bird. 7-year window for children. If a child is not exposed to language within the first 7 years, it will develop no language at all. Language is not instinctual. So this is a basic difference. The animal, if it's not going to be in contact with other animals from its kind, it is not going to form any problem. That animal is going to be able to communicate by using these sounds. It's something instinctual. It's in nature, inherited. But for the language, for the human beings, no. If the child reaches 7 years old, is not going to be in contact with others, is not going to be able to speak a language, at that time it is not instinctual, because language is learned. Language is not inherited. We do not take the language from our fathers and mothers, just like we have our faces or our bodies or our nature. So the language is not inherited for the human beings, but it is inherited for the animals. But it is for the human beings, it is acquired. It means that we look, we listen, we imitate, and we learn. Acquired means learn, but the difference we are going to discuss later. Duality. Human language is organized at 2 levels. It has 2 levels. The sounds, which is phonetics, as we know, the sounds that we are using it, and the combination of sounds. We combine the sounds to form words according to phonology, we said, and then to form words, and words to form sentences, and so on. Economical. With a limited number of discrete sounds, we can produce an indefinite number of meanings. For example, we have 28 sounds in English. From those 28, we can make an unlimited number of words. by combining those sounds, and those words they have meaning. So it is you just bringing something unlimited from something limited. Animal sounds can't be broken down into levels. We cannot divide them. But for human words, no, we can divide them also. Animals communication. Does your dog understand when you say sit, heel, roll over? All those words, the animal doesn't know the meaning of them, but it knows the reaction behind them. If I'm going to, for example, saying sit, but instead of that, I am ordering it to not sit, to stand up, it's going to stand up even if I'm going to say sit, because the action or the action that I want I want the animal to make from that sound, it's going to be determined by me, not by the meaning of the word, because the animal doesn't know what is the meaning of the word. Also, Vicky the champ. Researchers tried to touch a young chimpanzee to articulate English words. Her vocal tract was not up to the challenge. They are trying to teach the chimpanzee how to produce sounds or how to produce words, but the vocal tract or the vocal core, the vocal, let's say, the vocal tract, or let's say the oral cavity of it, it wasn't able to, it wasn't qualified, or it is not qualified. Washu the chimp and the coco the gorilla taught ASL in home-like environment, learned over 100 signs. ASL, it is American Sign Language, the language that is used by deafs. So they tried to make them to learn 100 signs. Could create new signs, could create new sentences by combining signs, evidence of language ability by pyramids. This is just like a question, general question. So if we want to teach the animals, they can, but with a limited number, not just like human beings. Lynn Chomsky, the champ, named as parody of the name of Noam Chomsky, the famed linguist. Chimps was found by researchers to merely repeat ASL. This is another example. I don't think it's very important. Also, this is the parrot. You know that the parrot, it has the ability to learn the language. Just like this parrot, Alex, raised for 31 years by researchers, irony, and it's developed a vocabulary of several hundred words and could use them appropriately in communication. It has ability to be creative, but this is not something general. Now we come, this is the questions to be studied. Why is we considered to be special property of a human language? What kind of evidence is used? I want you to study those questions, and we are going to answer them in our next lecture. Thank you very much, and if you have any question or any comment, you can write it on the stream on your classroom platform. If you have any issue about it, just please feel free to express it only on the classroom platform. Thank you very much.